Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Arundhati Ramnin, and with me in the studio are both Shruti Mishra and Ritu Singh, and these are the top headlines from the startup world. Cloudflare, a security performance and reliability company, announces a new funding program for startups in partnership with leading VC investors. The Workers Launchpad funding program will provide up to $1.25 billion finance to startups building applications on Cloudflare's Workers platform.
Savo, a B2B e-commerce marketplace for pharmacies, raises $4.5 million in a venture round co-led by Matrix Partners, Gaja Capital, 4.0 Health Ventures. The latest round valued the startup at $50 million.
Cryptocurrency taxation platform CoinEx acquires CryptoQanun, a platform engaged in cryptocurrency regulation knowledge building. Through this acquisition, CoinEx aims to grow awareness on cryptocurrency taxation as well as bring insights to Indian investors and potential customers.
A strong start to festive sales across online platforms. Data from Redseer shows more than 50 million shoppers placed orders online for goods worth 24,000 crore rupees.
The Central Board of Direct Taxes is likely to issue clarification on taxation of gains made via winning through online gaming. Sources inform CNBC-TV18. It has identified that players are betting, winning and not paying taxes. CBDT may give clarity for charging 0.1% tax deducted at TDS on transactions of over 10,000 rupees. Online gaming platforms will not be able to split the transactions to evade taxes.
ByteDance will expand its board of directors to a maximum of 9 as the company faces regulatory pressure globally, Reuters reported. Shareholders approved the move at an investor meeting, boosting the figure from the previous maximum of 5.
Lyft is freezing all hiring in the United States through the end of the year, a company spokesperson told Reuters. The company, which in July cut nearly 60 jobs in its rental division, has been battling surging expenses as U.S. inflation reaches levels not seen in 4 decades.
Well, those are the headlines we're tracking for you this evening. Online professional network LinkedIn has released its 2022 LinkedIn Top Startups list for India, revealing the top 25 startups that have shown resilience in an uncertain market environment and are continuing to innovate. Joining us now are 3 startups that have made to the list: Kaivalya Vora, co-founder and CTO of Zepto; Swami Sitaraman, head of technology at Cred; and Puneet Goyal, who's the co-founder of Blue Smart. Congratulations, gentlemen, and many thanks for joining us on Startup Street. Also joining me will be my colleague Arundhati. Kaivalya, let me start with you, and first let me also congratulate you as you're now the youngest entry in the IIFL Hurun India Rich List 2022. Many congratulations for that as well. And you know, LinkedIn has measured startups based on 4 pillars, which is employment growth, engagement, job interest and traction of top talent. Now, Zepto is ranked number 4 on the list. If you could take me through your organizational culture, what policies have helped you retain talent and kept the workforce happy?
Sure thing. Firstly, thanks a lot for having me here. It's a pleasure. And yeah, I'll quickly chat through both of those things on the culture part and the policies. So on culture, right, I think a couple of things are fundamental, right? One is, having a super high ownership culture, right? Everything is everyone's problem, right? And at the same time, giving people very difficult problems to solve, right? And say, hey, look, and in general, the business that we're building comes with a lot of very interesting challenges every day. And that's, I think, one thing that keeps a lot of folks engaged. At the same time, given the growth that we're having, a lot of people, that high growth also comes with high learning. And so, at the same time, a lot of people, a lot of the folks on the team have gone through that over the last year since we launched. And so I think in general, a mix of all of those things, high ownership of, solving difficult problems, as well as, high growth for the business, also translating into high learning and high growth opportunities for people is sort of, what I'd say on the culture part, right? Some of the policies that sort of go hand in hand as well, the second part on the policies. So, one of them is sort of a vacation reimbursement policy, something that we sort of started some time back, where we sort of, reimburse folks for vacations that they take within the country and outside the country. This sort of allows folks to, encourage them to take time off, once in a while, spend time with loved ones, family, friends, etc.
Absolutely.
That's one of them. Second one, sort of being period leave, right? And not just for women, folks for all genders, right?
Yes,
Which will feel the same, for equal support at home for spouses, mothers, siblings, etc. And third one being parental cover and childcare. right? It's no doubt that this is sort of a pretty critical milestone in everyone's life.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Kaivalya, we'll delve deeper into some of the policies that you just mentioned, but let me quickly get in Swami here. Swami, Cred is #1 on the list, valued at $6.4 billion. Cred has maintained its podium position on the LinkedIn top startups list. It's moved from #3 in 2021 to #1 in 2022. What has changed in the past 1 year? What policies at Cred do you think has made it a favorite with job seekers and employees?
Yeah, I think if I sort of rewind in the last 3.5 years, it's been a sort of a growth and it's a scale growth. And during this time, there are a few tenets that helped us to continue to stay on the podium, right? One is actually starting with trust. I think trust is very fundamental to how we operate at Cred. And the way we define trust is always given first. For example, we pay salary in the beginning of the month, not the end of the month. It's just a small gesture saying that, hey, we trust you, right? We have flexi hours and flexi days. Like people can choose if they want to take a break. They just say, I need to take a break, and they manage how they want to manage. For example, after we roll out an offer, we give a laptop immediately saying that, hey, we trust you, right? So everything is built on trust. I think one more point I want to touch is we also encourage people to follow their passion. We have a lot of musicians, poets, storytellers, authors, and so many stand-up comedians. We have a lot of artists, and we ensure that they can follow the passion, irrespective of what they do. So at the core of it, it's about people. And Kunal keeps talking about, hey, how do we make this the best gig for people? How do we ensure that this experience helps them to become a better version of themselves? And how do we have long-term relationship with them? Like, I just want to sum it up by saying that even when people decide to leave, we enable them to take the laptop with them. They've spent a lot of time on that. It's a relationship that we want to carry, and we want people to be successful. So anything we do, we are keeping people at center of it. And the reason, I think, in my opinion, if I had to just pick one reason, is the people on the ground who are able to internalize the values, able to appreciate the mission, what we're trying to do, and with very high agency, they're able to operate and win it for Cred. So kudos to the team Cred.
Absolutely. So people at the core are at the core of it, and it's all built on trust. Hi, Puneet, Arundhati here. On similar lines, I want to know what employee-friendly policies have you made at BlueSmart?
Hi, Arundhati. So I think, we were, in the list last year, our ranking was 16th, and this year is 10th. Hopefully we stay put next year also. We are a company which believes in perseverance and resilience, and we only get in people which are purpose-driven. BlueSmart has seen 3 rounds of COVID, and we run India's largest fully electric ride-hailing service. We had a team strength of about 30-35 people back in 2019 and 2020 when COVID struck. Today, we employ more than 200 people. And in terms of drivers, today we have created job opportunities for more than 3,400 people in India who drive BlueSmart cars. So we believe in people who are purpose-driven, who believe that they are doing something great for the environment and are really contributing towards building a better tomorrow. So that purpose-driven approach is very, very important. People who can go through good times and bad times, who have the resilience in them, and only when you have a purpose can you be resilient. And that is something that we see in our team members, because we believe them, because we believe that they will play a very, very important part in our growth story. And every team member should probably have resilience in them, or should probably have the conviction and should be purpose-driven. That's what we see with our team.
Right, so a very purpose-driven culture there. But Kaivalya, let me get you back into the conversation now. It's actually something you mentioned a little bit earlier. You said you offer period leave, and it's not just for women employees. Anyone can take these period leaves. So can you elaborate a little bit on that and what you meant by that?
Yeah, sure. So, as an inclusive organization, right, the idea is to not just have period leave limited to just women, right? The idea is that, a lot of folks within the team have people in their family, whether it's their spouses, siblings, or, mothers, etc., right? And the idea is that we sort of want to give people the flexibility to also offer equal support at home, right? And so that's sort of where that came from.
All right. In fact, Zepto's childcare support that you also mentioned earlier goes beyond the creche facility to include daycare and at-home nanny support. What is the kind of impact you've seen on employees?
Yeah, no, I think on the whole, that's been a pretty major one, right? I think, it's like I said, it's a big critical milestone in everyone's lives. We've got a team that skews to be a little bit young, right? So a lot of folks that, are having that, that happy moment in their lives. And so one thing that we sort of are pretty committed to is to ensuring that they're able to maintain a, very strong balance between their personal and professional lives. And so, the idea with these parental benefits is to give people that comfort, right? And, like I said, it's a pretty, in India, stay-at-home nannies are, some at times, more trusted, etc. than creches. And so the idea was to be as sort of open and flexible as possible with this policy.
All right. Puneet, let's talk about ESOPs then. What kind of impact does it have on employee retention and loyalty? At BlueSmart, what has been your winning formula?
ESOPs are always very welcome, and people love ESOPs, but they also need to contribute towards the growth of the company to get ESOPs. And when the company is at growth stage like BlueSmart is, or like others on this call, you need to be very mindful of whom you want to give ESOPs to. But once you award ESOPs, we also believe that the employee or the team member should be there for long term. So we have been very choosy there, but now we are giving ESOPs to a lot of employees who have been with us, or team members rather, that's the right word, who have been with us for the last 3 years. They have been with us through thick and thin, and we are awarding generous ESOPs to them. And we believe that they can be change makers, is a change maker that we really believe should be awarded the ESOPs.
Okay. Coming to you now, Swami, quickly, and if you could quickly answer that as well. Every team member at Cred is a shareholder. What is your current ESOP outlay and how do you make it rewarding?
Yeah, our ESOP pool size is $700 million, and that's for people, right? And we look at every team member as a shareholder of Cred, so everybody gets ESOPs. And the reason is we have very, very tight hiring process in terms of who we want to get. But once they come in, skin in the game being a value for Cred, very core for us. So it's important that people feel like it's their own company and they're owners of company and not employees of company. So that's the reason we ensured that everyone, every function, any level, doesn't matter, they get ESOPs. Another interesting aspect is after individual completes 1 year, they can take 50% of the salary as ESOPs, right? This is another, it's very unique to Cred. And it's called Annual Wealth Program. A lot of people, we're very impressed with in terms of participation and people wanting to, put their money and make the company successful, right? So it's very core to us in terms of ESOPs and very core to value of skin in the game.
All right, on that note, we'll have to wrap up this conversation. We've completely run out of time, but many thanks, Kaivalya, Swami and Puneet for joining us on Startup Street today, and congratulations once again.
All right, on that note, global retail giant Walmart's technology arm, Walmart Global Tech, says India remains a growing market for the company, adds that it is closely looking at ideas from the Indian market that it can implement in its markets in other countries. In an exclusive chat with CNBC-TV18's Ritu Singh, Walmart Global Tech's SVP of Retail Tech Platforms and country head Hari Vasudev says the company is aggressively building its India team, which he called the tech brain of Walmart globally. Take a look.
We have always believed in going where the talent is. For us, which is in India, right? So for us, India is essentially a talent play. And so what we are engaged in doing is to basically build our teams by hiring the best and the brightest across all the different levels of talent. So we are hiring senior architects, principal architects, senior principal engineers. We also hire a lot from the campus. We do a lot of lateral hiring. And the idea is not just to focus on technology alone, but to build cross-functional teams that are fairly independent and can take on a lot more ownership and accountability. So, to that extent, we have invested a lot in hiring not just engineers, but data scientists, designers, product managers, program managers. So if we can create a team that can come together and understand the problem, work with the business teams in the rest of the globe, but then build solutions for our customers across the world.
So speaking of cross-functionality, through Walmart's investments in Flipkart and PhonePe and Myntra, etc., what is the kind of work that Walmart Global Tech is doing for these companies and with these companies?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, right? Our approach to Flipkart and PhonePe has been that we're really letting them focus a lot on the India market. And we want them to really focus on that market. It's a growing market.
Yeah.
At the same time, we look at opportunities where we can leverage ideas and cross-pollinate some ideas, right? One example is that we've taken some of the work that PhonePe has done, and while we've not directly taken the work, we've looked at the ideas that they have applied, building financial inclusion solutions on top of an interface like UPI, and we're in the process of building similar products and services through our Cashi product in Mexico.
What are some of the retail trends that have been emerging, and especially post the pandemic when the space has really gotten a huge push?
Yeah, I think a lot of, so if I were to look at about 2 or 3 very specific trends, right? One is obviously the ubiquitous use of AI and ML across all aspects of our business. So today, whether it's in the supply chain, whether it's in our warehousing systems, whether it's in the last mile logistics, whether it's in picking by our store associates for online grocery orders, whether it's in search and personalization, even in the use of building enterprise-wide solutions, solutions for our associates in the stores, we use AI and ML extensively. Another interesting trend that we've noticed more and more is it's no longer about going to the store or doing e-commerce. It's not about 2 disjointed separate experiences anymore. It's about an omni-channel experience where, it can start at the house with e-commerce or the Walmart app, but it can end up at the store. Another interesting example that's, we've seen a lot of traction with, particularly post the pandemic, is people used to come to the stores, right, and they started to return to the stores, but they're also doing a lot of online shopping. Now, if you take the example of apparel, when I'm in the store, I can go to the trial room, I can try on clothes. If I'm online, there's a huge challenge, right? How do I do that? So we've introduced virtual try-on. So we used AR very effectively, and we rolled out something called Choose Your Model. So the idea is when you're shopping for apparel, we created about 30 different avatars, if you will, based on body types, skin tones, other attributes, which allowed you to pick the right model to try the clothes on.
Well, digital banking infrastructure enabler Signzy recently raised 210 crore rupees or $26 million from Gaja Capital and its existing investors, Vertex Ventures and Akram Ventures, in the latest funding round. Now, the Bangalore-based fintech SaaS company plans to use this capital to enhance its no-code workflow digitization platform and solutions as it targets a greater adoption of its platform by a global banking and financial services clientele. Ankit Ratan, Signzy CEO and co-founder, is with us now to talk about this latest round of funding and the company's plans ahead. Ankit, welcome on the show. Thanks very much for being here on Startup Street. Congratulations on this latest round of fundraising. Give us a sense of, what the company is now valued at.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I think I may be bad with my maths, but post, I think we would be at roughly around 125 million.
I see. $125 million is where the company is valued at. Now, you've said that you plan to use...
Yeah, with the dollar INR, with the dollar INR thing happening, I think nobody has real hands on what's the exact number.
Yes, it is changing every day. But, how will you use this fresh capital to enhance your, platform and solutions, perhaps look at new geographies as well?
Yeah, I think what we have been able to prove and I think see is that Signzy has been able to replace very critical systems within the financial services using a no-code approach, which was a bold, brave thing because financial institutions generally have been building tools with very, very large tech companies. So I think we've been able to prove that. And I think we'll be investing more in, of course, the product and technology to even go further inside banks and then spend that money to create adoption not only in India, but outside India, specifically US.
Okay, so we'll get back to that. But, within India, overall, of course, you're working with about 240 financial institutions. In India, which are the banks that you're currently engaged with? And do you have plans to expand there as well? Look at partnerships with more NBFCs, onboard more partners?
Yeah, we work with almost all large banks, the top 6 by AUM, we work with all of them. And but what we believe is that we've just hit the tip of the iceberg and we've been able to prove a point, which is that banks can also adopt no-code technology. I think the real goal or the real win will be to replace more and more systems. I'm sure US consumers understand that, banks are still not like fintechs. And I think Signzy's real focus is how to actually really drive this adoption fast. So banking experience for all its users can be like fintech experiences.
We'd read earlier that the company has plans to release UPI AutoPay, eNash in the next 6 months. What is the update on that front?
I'm not sure of that, maybe some other company, but at least our focus is on...
I think, Ankit, it was on your company's website, if I'm not wrong.
Maybe a blog on that would have been there, but we ourselves are not payments player. We are focused on operational automation, which means that onboarding journeys around, let's say, when you're getting a new product, when you're getting recommended for a new product. So today, I'm sure you get hundreds of emails from a bank for all its XYZ products. Signzy's goal is to make it more focused on you, more targeted on you, the same way as a Google and Facebook would do, using the bank's data, versus this manual, semi-manual approach that banks are taking to their end consumers.
All right, got that. Could you also give us a sense of the regions which are seeing the fastest growth for the company? UAE, for instance, that's been a focus area where you said you'd almost triple your growth. What are the other some such regions where you're seeing faster growth?
Yeah, I think outside India, both in MENA and Southeast Asia, because of course the base is low, the growth is very, very fast. Similar problems. Banks need to upgrade their technology, and because you cannot hire expensive tech talent, no code is the only way to kind of go forward. I know it's too technical for this maybe show and session, but that's a topic in itself, and I think that's what we are seeing across more and more geographies. In US, I think it's very, very early days, so I think the growth is not what's important to us. What is important to us that we are getting logos. We are being able to. We have already added about 7 customers in US, and our goal is to build a strong logo base in US to kind of really use that as a base to do a aggressive GTM.
We've been seeing an accelerated shift towards digital transactions across industries because of the pandemic over the last few years. Now, given Signzy's digital onboarding and automated compliance solutions, what has this meant in terms of growth for you? And if you could also give us a roadmap of, what kind of growth you envisage in the short to medium term for the company.
Yeah, I think one thing which is very interesting is happening is that banks, whether they want it or not, have to move away from purely branch-based banking to a user-first digital banking. And what that has meant, and of course, it's shown in the number of transactions consumers are doing digitally. But what that has meant is that the current operative teams, they have like level 1 in branch, level 2 in operations, is no longer relevant. What you really need is an AI-based engine centrally sitting in the bank, taking in all the data, and maybe giving the kind of value addition, advice, and recommendation as these, manual teams would have done. So Signzy's goal is kind of to become that engine for the bank and do it through a no-code approach so that banks don't take years to get there, but can get there within weeks and months.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. And, we've come to an end of this discussion, but we wish you all the very best, with that latest round of fundraising and your plans ahead. On that note, Shruti, it's back to you.
Thank you. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.